Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Shop Talk with Zack Burton and Zack Burton Racing. All right, so Zack, thanks for letting us come up and visit your shop, check out what you got going on. Love coming up here and doing these things. But my first question I always ask is, how did you get into racing?
Well, it was a long process, kind of. Back in 2014, I was in college and stuff, and I kind of needed something to occupy my time a little bit. And my uncle had a race car that Brad Barrow was driving, and kind of just got with him one day and was like, hey, I need something to occupy my time, because like when I was in high school and stuff, I played football, basketball, baseball, so I was busy all the time, and I kind of missed the competitive stuff, and got hooked up with him, and that was really I went to the races with my grandparents, like starting 4 or 5 years old all the way through.
Gotcha.
And never really got to see the aspect of the pit side of it and all that, so I was really excited to do that, and got into it with them, and they had a lot of success. I think that was 2013, the first year that they got together and started racing, and it just so happened that when Brad started driving for them was the first night that I went with him too, so we just kind of all grew together. And I mean, it was honestly the aspect of, 2013 wasn't that long ago, and I was learning how to take tires off of cars. I just never had been around any of that at all. So we raced that summer, and then the next year they actually won the ILMS points. They won the Bowman, and kind of started there. And then, see, back then the crates only raced like 9, 10, 11 times a year. So it's a lot different than it is now. And I'd go out to Chad's a little bit and help him maintenance and stuff through the week, just trying to learn as much as I could. There's a guy named Mike Snyder that walked in there one day, and he had 2 Hornets. And I just straight up asked him, I was like, hey, can I drive one of those one night? I'd never drove anything in my life.
Right.
And so he gave me the opportunity to drive one of those, and we took a borrowed truck, borrowed trailer. I don't think lights worked on the truck or the trailer. And the car was actually at North Vernon. And we went to North Vernon's pits, got in the car, and when I sat in the car to drive it up on the trailer, I couldn't touch nothing. Like, it was like for like a 7-foot tall dude.
Right.
So I'm panicking at this point, and I called my uncle, and I'm like, hey, I need you to bring something to the racetrack so I can touch the pedals. Like, I couldn't get anywhere close to him. So he brought these like big chunks of wood, and we put them on the pedals, and I raced that night, and that was the first night I got to race. We actually took it to Brownstown and ran that night. And raced with him a little bit, and then things progressed from there. So.
Gotcha. So you started out obviously in a Hornet, right? What other classes have you raced in? Just Hornet and Crate?
That's it, yeah.
Gotcha. So how did it come about that you got your own stuff? How did that work out?
So I raced for Mike Snyder there in the Hornet stuff for about a year and a half, off and on, not like every weekend or anything like that. And had some success. Almost should have probably won a race at North Vernon one night doing that, and I had the bug at that point, and I was still helping my uncle. Like, everything was just an ends to get to a crate car. Like, that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
And my senior year of college, had no money hardly, and I made it almost no money. Emptied my bank account, went and bought my own Hornet, so I could go race whenever I wanted. Still didn't have a truck, still didn't have a trailer, and raced and ended up getting hooked up with my cousin Jeremy, and we took it serious that winter and built some stuff that we knew the other guys had, and ran that car I think 3 times, and kind of had a fiasco one night at North Vernon, and it was like, it's now or never. Like, if we're gonna go crate racing, we had people that wanted to buy the car, and we're like, this is our chance. So we just took the leap, and we did it. So.
Gotcha. So then your first car that you bought after that was a crate car.
Yep.
What crate car did you start off in?
So Skylar Lewis had it was a 1998 Masterbuilt. It was an old car, and it had a 602 in it. And this is no joke. The Hornet stuff was so hot at the time, and that car was so hot, and we had a spare car for parts and stuff.
Gotcha.
That I only ended up paying. We had like $500 out of pocket to buy that crate car.
Really?
And it was a blessing how all of it really worked out, you know. And Skylar had moved on to a new car and all that stuff, and we went down there and bought it, and I think about 2 weeks later we went racing.
Really?
Went crate racing.
So after the 98 Masters built, what?
I bought a Gen X car that Skylar had, so he had bought a new Masterbuilt at that point. So I bought his Gen X car, and I was able to put a brand new engine in that car too. It just, a lot of things kind of came together.
Right.
And that was the first like really competitive car we had. The thing was a qualifying machine, and I was still learning as we went on.
Right.
And that was the second car I got, and then ran it for I think 1 year, and was building it for the next year, and Peden had bought a Capital, so I knew that car was for sale. I knew it was a really good car. Larry Hartwell and them had it, and then Peden had it, and he had luck in it, and it was just a really good buy. So we ended up, there was a guy that had asked me about buying my car.
Gotcha.
And so I sold it to him, and I went and got Peden's Gen X car, and I raced it for 2 years.
Gotcha. So then after that, did you go the Black Diamond route after that?
Yeah, and that was a really tough deal, because I have a really good relationship with Taser, Gerald, and Josh, and Gum, and they're really good. I mean, we just went and played bingo a couple weekends ago, so they're really good people, and it was just a money deal. Like, if I was going to stay in a Masterbuilt, I wanted the new car, and new cars are expensive.
Yes.
So this is actually the second Black Diamond. We junked one last year, second race on that car. And both these cars just kind of fell in our lap at the perfect time. And really good race cars, and they were just the best buy. I mean, as you can look around here, it's a budget operation. So whatever makes the most financial sense, and it's worked out. So
racing pretty much just boils down to money. That's what it boils down to. So what plans do you have for 2023?
You know, there's a nostalgia, I think, to winning racing for the ILMS championship, and a lot of that. There's always a lot of guys that say they're not going to run it, and then a lot of. I mean, it's so hard to not when you got the best crate money around, and it's 45 minutes from the house. So it's hard to pull anywhere else. But I don't know, just see what kind of happens. I kind of planned on doing that last year, and then we blew a motor testing before the season started, and then the second week of the year we jumped a frame. So,
had some bad luck.
Yeah, so that kind of, I think we missed like 8 races. So that kind of ended all that. But I tell you, that was the most fun summer I had, because we didn't want to go, we didn't have to go. I mean, we always went. But you just didn't have that pressure of man, we're points racing, so we got to be there.
Yeah, a lot of guys I talk to, you know, it's the stress of points racing versus just racing for fun and chasing the money. It's a big difference. So.
And it kind of goes through a lull sometimes, like where you're like, man, I'm going to the same place every week, racing the same guys, and it just kind of gets boring. But then you get on the website and you look, and you're like, well, here's what I'm actually trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? So you go down there to win every week, but you can see the bigger picture, and the ILMS has such a good points payout at the end of the year that money talks, and
Yeah.
it's hard to walk away from that sometimes. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say we're gonna run that deal, but depending on how the year starts and if we're sitting in a good spot, and you never know.
Gotcha.
See what happens.
What's one of your biggest memories so far as racing? Like, what's something that stands out to you?
I'd say the first, when I was driving that very first crate car I had, it was the second year we were racing it, and just kind of the first moment I felt like maybe I'm not an idiot for doing this. We were running second in the heat race and coming off of turn 2, and Gotzi, what's his name? The older guy, not Egger, Steven. Steven was leading the heat race, and I don't know how, but we found traction that he didn't have and actually drove around him in the heat race. He ended up passing me back. But that was like I led one lap of a heat race that whole year, and it was that lap, and I was like, man, it got me so excited, and I felt like, man, I might be able to actually do this. Like, I'm not wasting all my time and money. And then that picture, that's my favorite picture ever there. I don't know if you can see it yet, but
we'll get that on the walk around. So that's a cool picture.
That's my uncle's car, and when Barrow was driving it, and that's the one time I passed him and was leading the heat race. That was my first Gen X car there.
Gotcha.
And ended up getting whiskey throttle coming off of turn 2 and dumping it off the backstretch the lap after I passed him. But I got picture proof that it did happen.
Right.
So that's my favorite.
Well, Mark got a good picture of it for sure.
Yeah, that's my favorite racing picture of all time right there.
All right, so we always end. I started this new thing, Fast Five. Are you ready? You're a Hoosier fan. How you football or basketball?
Man, I like basketball, but IU football, I don't know, have no idea why. It's just always held a special place with me, and as soon as race season ends, all my focus goes to football. And we go down and tailgate.
I see all your tailgate pictures on Facebook.
I love racing, but a Saturday in Bloomington for doing that with my buddies, that's hard to beat.
It's hard to beat.
We have so much fun going to those games, and they suck, but just the time is, we just have a blast.
The fall, the atmosphere.
Oh yeah. It gets rowdy.
On IU campus. Favorite racetrack food?
Favorite racetrack food. Can we go Eldora even?
Oh yeah, any racetrack.
I'll say
favorite food.
Wings at Eldora.
Wings at Eldora. Do you like a slick track or tacky track?
I like slick. I like the slick enough where you can see the lights reflecting off the racetrack. Just completely gone, not much brown on it. That's what I like.
What is your favorite racetrack?
I mean,
let's do this. Let's change it up a little bit. Fan or driver? What's your favorite racetrack?
Fan, probably Florence. Florence, I think, consistently puts on the best show. And I tell you, we went up Ring Gas City a couple of years ago, and I had an absolute blast up there. But it's hard not to say Brownstown. It's just where I grew up, and as a 5-year-old kid, you don't ever think you're going to be the one down there actually racing. I mean, I got more laps in the stands with little die-cast cars than I'll ever probably make on the actual racetrack itself. So I'd say Brownstown probably holds the best for me.
Favorite beer?
Busch Light. That's the only way to go. I'm a latte guy.
All right, so now we're going to walk around. We're going to check out Zack's shop, just kind of like what he's got going on behind the scenes. So yeah, stick with us and we'll take a tour of the shop. All right, so now we're going to walk around, check out your shop, see what all you got going on, as far as what you got going on to get ready for 2023, and just check the place out. Yeah. So if you want to lead us around, obviously this is the Black Diamond that's in the other part of the video. And how long have you had this car?
We got this car in, I think it was April, might have been early May. And it was a pretty cool story how we got it. So we wrecked that car, and I had plans of taking, Tyler Neal's car that he wrecked at East Bay. It was 2 years newer. The car I wrecked was a 17. This is a 19. He had a 19, so I was going to take it down to Black Diamond and get it clipped instead of my 17.
Gotcha.
And ended up talked to Stuckey down there, and he had this car in. He just got on trade and told us to come get it. So worked out that deal and went down and 13 hours down, 13 hours back. We did a 26-hour drive in 32 hours.
Oh.
Drove down, slept in a Cracker Barrel parking lot, ate breakfast, went to the shop, and I'd had them put the electrical stuff in it there.
Gotcha.
And come home, and actually we built this car in about 3.5 days from the bare frame up.
I knew when I was watching on social media, you guys were thrashing and getting it all done.
And we actually had we was going to race that Saturday, and finally got this thing to where we could fire it at 12:30. And like I said, if you see outside, I'm sure the neighbors loved that.
Oh yeah.
12:30 on a Friday night, and it was probably just a hidden blessing. But we fired it off, and there was a pinhole in the radiator. We had another radiator, but it was just at that point it was like the sails been, or the air was out of the sails. We held off and come back in a couple weeks after that and raced for the first time. So I think that was May when all that happened.
Gotcha. Now the cool part about these shop talks is checking out people's, their operations and stuff. And
yeah.
Like you said earlier in the video, being a budget operation, I think this is what's cool because, would you say this is a 24 by 20 shop?
Yep.
And I just like seeing that part of it because, you guys make it happen. Whatever it's going to take to get to the track on Saturday night, you guys are going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So this is tire storage over here,
Yeah.
I guess, I'm assuming.
Well, it's dinosaurs now, so it sounds like these 1350s are kind of on their way out. So we used all of them up there at the end of the year. And sadly, there's probably 2 of these that are worthy of going on the racetrack. So
this is an opportunity. So Zach might have some tires for sale if anybody's interested. We got some tires for sale.
Yeah.
So we'll go over and check this picture. Now, this is the picture that Zach was talking about earlier in the video. You want to explain that again a little bit?
Yeah, so like I said, my uncle kind of got me into racing, and he had a car. His car is a 2016 Masters built, and then that was a 2013 Master built that I had. And it was just kind of cool because Brad was one of the first people that I got to know that was a driver, essentially, like on a one-on-one basis. So he taught me a lot, and just to have my one lap of glory of passing the fella, and then nobody has to, like I told you the second part of that, I didn't have to tell you that I ran off the racetrack. I passed him, but I got picture proof that we did.
You were in the lead up. You passed him at one point in time.
Yep.
Whether you whiskey throttled it or not, you're still in front of him.
There's picture proof. So.
Yep. And this is cool too because this is like one of the most iconic license plates a person can possess.
So I had a yard cart that I had that on back during COVID. We was racing over at Tyler Neal's, racing go-karts over there a bunch, and that was that was on the bumper of that car. Yeah. So
yeah, that's like the most iconic.
They're everywhere. Yes.
License plate.
It's hard to find a shop that doesn't have those.
And every shop has to have a refrigerator.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's got pop, beer, whatever. Shop has to have a refrigerator.
Yes, and this one's empty right now. It's got the sad nights in there. I think there's some wild turkey in there and some smoked
Tennessee whiskey and wild turkey.
Yeah, so
no better way to start the race season.
Well,
right?
that's for the sad nights where you come back licking your wounds.
Now, is it vented with an air filter, or is that just sitting up there?
That's secret.
Okay, it could be vented, so I don't know. But yeah, so then you got your own spring smasher?
Yeah, so when I started racing, I said I'd never have one, and if it ever got to where everybody had to have something like that, then there's no way I could afford to race.
Right.
And me wanting to race, you see a spring smasher here now. So
they're everywhere now.
Yeah, you just the way cars are set up and stuff, and to be able to stay on top of them, you about gotta have one.
So I want to do like a little bit of an educational thing here too for a lot of people that don't know. We watch Flo, we watch other, like some of your super guys have spring smashers. Yeah. What's the purpose of that?
So
for anybody that's watching them.
Just kind of set your loads on your springs and stuff, and cars used to be really dominant on scales, and you would scale them out, and now you just kind of run spring smash numbers and set your ride heights on that, and honestly, it takes a lot of guessing out of it because you can come back here and pull the shock off and put it on your smasher and see where you're at, see if you're off, or if it's easier to kind of tweak a little bit of stuff too, and you can can change some stuff and say, hey, that didn't work, so cross these numbers off.
And go to something else.
Yeah, so it's nice because you start off with a standard set of numbers and makes it easier to kind of get rolling out of the
Gotcha.
gate,
So that is your educational tip of the week.
well, I'm not one to be educating anybody.
So what's on the TV? If we're going to watch something in the shop, what's on the TV?
Sports mainly.
Sports.
Yeah, that's
some flow action maybe. Some,
not out here. What this is basketball, baseball, football.
You're more traditional sports,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So we're not out here watching TV a whole lot, but
Gotcha.
we use the Alexa over there when we get rowdy, and she puts our music.
So
up.
if you're in the shop, do you prefer music or do you prefer TV?
Music.
Music.
Yeah.
I'm saying what.
I'm a hell of a bad singer, but I love to do it.
Love to sing, that's right. So you got all your shock stuff up here on the wall, and then Easy Lift. Those are like a go-to thing now. Those are like the berries.
Well, it's so much safer too. It's hard when you're at a dirt track to put a jack in her car and have a jack walk out on you. And
right.
Stuff. So shocks are at Shaw's right now. Superheat getting tuned in and freshened up for this coming year. So. We're just to the point now where we're waiting on everything to get back and put things together. And hopefully nothing falls apart.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. All right. Then over here on this side, you got your air compressor, you got your workbench, fuel jugs.
A little bit of everything. I gotta give a plug here too. So Kevin Fleetwood at Black Belt Racing has started making these bad boys for, instead of running the steel stuff for your body bracing, and we're going to test these out for him this year, and hopefully if there's tweaks to be made, help him work on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Excited to run these. This stuff here is not bad. Spring steel's not bad, but when it breaks,
right,
and it's hard to get it to come back. So we'll try his plastic stuff that he's got here and see what happens.
So these plastic things are going to replace all that banding there on the side of the body brace.
I think we're going to first try it on the quarter panels. And then, based on what we learned there, go from there and maybe put it on the rest of the car. So,
gotcha.
So excited about that. Nice little partnership with Kevin. He's a heck of a guy.
Speaking of that, let's go through some of your sponsors, because drivers, I mean, they're obviously a lot of the backbone of racing operations.
Absolutely.
So if you want to give a plug out to them, who you got on the car for 2023?
So we actually had 3 new guys come on this year, which is exciting. You know, I mean, we need all the help we can get to get to the racetrack. I mean, everything's going way up. So Lance Schaefer and Jesse Hill, Schaefer Trucking out of North Vernon, they came on, and that's a cool partnership for us. And Black Belt Racing, Kevin Fleetwood, he's on this year, and then a guy named Tony Blair here in town. He does a bunch of remodeling stuff. He's remodeling Mom and Dad's bathroom right now, and it's cool because there's always people remodeling bathrooms.
Right. Oh yeah.
I've been able to get his name out quite a bit. I think I've gave him 4 recommendations after he's done Mom and Dad.
Gotcha.
So that's been nice. Got Travis Kern Racing Engine. Travis is just a top-notch dude. He's always a call away, no matter what time of the day it is, and he wants to see his engines run and his cars run good. You know? M2 Designs, Hoosier Machine and Welding, Ramon Trucking and Excavating. I'm really bad at this, by the way. Trying to remember who else. Beck Automotive, Relic Killer Designs. We're going back to our original graphics guy this year. So, and that's nothing against Slicker. Done an awesome job last year. I just always have had the Relic guy, and he had some work obligations last year, wasn't able to do it. So going to be a little bit different this year on color and stuff. So excited about that. Superheat Solutions. Justin Shaw does a great job on that stuff.
He does.
And I actually made a list for this.
So
I don't want to leave
don't leave anybody out.
Let's see here. I think I got.
Because as soon as they watch this video, they're going to call you out.
Brent Lee's 4x4, O'Neill Salvage. That's it. Don really helped me out, and especially last year when we switched over to the Black Diamond stuff.
Gotcha.
with Tyler running the same car and stuff, and help get our program where it needed to be competitive. And just to go on a little spill real quick, Tyler Neal has been so incredibly helpful, and he, when I had my last Gen X car, Peden helped me out. I mean, I'm absorbing knowledge because I don't know anything. I mean, I'm just learning. I mean, 10 years ago I didn't know how to change a tire.
Right.
So it's not like I just kind of grew up around this.
Progression.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I spent a lot of time on FaceTime with Steve, learning how to use Spring Smasher, just the little stuff, just trying to learn. And me and Tyler kind of have similar driving styles in a way, and he kind of put me on some stuff with that Masterbuilt that I had, and I really liked it. And I thought, well, man, if what he's doing and the information he's giving me is helping this much, like, I get a black diamond.
Right.
He kicked everybody's ass a couple of years ago and had a good year last year too. Right. He really good dude. So we, like that 17 car I had last year, we built it over in his garage and stuff. And it's the people. The sponsors are awesome, and luckily all my sponsors are friends. You know what I mean?
Makes a big difference.
It's not just showing up and saying, "Hey, I need $500 this week" or something like that. So it's the relationships and the friendships that you build that make it awesome.
The relationships mean a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it makes it fun to go to the racetrack too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Two people that I really got to thank that makes this operation go every week is my dad. For the longest time it was just me and him doing this, and then my uncle, they decided last year that they were going to sell out, and he come down here and started helping me tinkering around, and before I know it, I had a full-time crew chief that I never knew I needed.
Gotcha.
And it helped more than anything, and it's escalated my program to a whole nother level, I think. And I think he's the reason we're able to be so competitive on every night. So I can't thank him enough, and I'm glad to have him here every weekend. So.
Yeah, I did talk to them too a little bit when I was doing the GoPro footage for you back in the pits, and definitely good to have those people help.
Yeah, just he knows, he's been around it for 50-some years, so anytime you can bring that kind of knowledge to your pit, it's a game changer.
Gotcha, for sure.
And we have a good time doing it. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I thank you for letting us come up here, visit your shop, hang out, and so we wish you the best of luck in 2023, and until next time, we'll see you down the road.
Yes, sir.